Hey everyone, welcome to What I Listened to This Week. Back for another episode with Sergio and Erik and myself, Melanie. Hi.
Hello.
Hope you're all doing well. Season 2, episode 2. Let's get it going. So today's icebreaker, I thought we could maybe use an opportunity to maybe plug or promote one of our favorite podcasts, or even if you're not promoting it, if you just want to kind of talk about another podcast that you like to listen to other than this one, of course, what you like to listen to in your spare time, and maybe give a little synopsis of it and kind of why you like it. So, Erik, I will start with you.
Okay, there are a couple.
Yeah, you can list more than one. I think that's fine.
One is called Code Switch, which is on NPR, and it's about the way that Black people communicate in the general society. And code switching just means that there's a different language that Black people speak when relating to the larger society. And it's good. It's stories about how that happens in everyday life. And the other one is Moth Radio Hour, because it's always just something arcane and weird and funny most of the time. People tell great stories. I don't have any idea if the stories are true, but the people are always great storytellers.
Yeah, so those are really good ones. I remember listening to them, especially Moth, when like we would do big road trips and stuff. That's a really good one. Do you have a recent episode or a favorite episode you've listened to recently from either of them?
I was listening to Code Switch last week, but I only listen to podcasts when I'm in my car.
Yeah.
And it's so bizarre. So it's like, well, I'm driving somewhere and I'll flip on NPR or CPR and catch something. But I always try to catch those. It's like, well, Saturday afternoon, time for Moth Radio Hour. I better go drive.
Yeah, I mean, I primarily listen to them when I'm in the car as well. Like usually on long trips, I'll do a big download of all the podcasts that I like to listen to. Sometimes I'll listen to them like before bed as like a way to like decompress. That's not watching TV because it's not like a screen that I'm looking at.
Yeah.
So I like listening to them there. Sometimes like they're nice to fall asleep to, depending on what the topic and what the podcast is. But yeah, no, I hear that.
Oh, and one more.
Oh yeah, no, go for it.
Almost listen to Fresh Air every day.
Oh,
Fresh Air. What is Fresh Air about?
Love Fresh Air. But
Fresh Air is an interview program, and Terry Gross has been doing it for a long time, but now that she's getting older, she has guest hosts on, but it's interviews with interesting people about their books or their projects. Or the last one that I heard, speaking of ones that were recent episodes, was an interview with Jeffrey Wright. Jeffrey Wright just got nominated for his first Academy Award for his acting role in American Fiction, and he was excellent in that. So, in listening to him and his story and how he came to be the actor who he is today is really fascinating. So, if you're looking for an episode of Fresh Air, the Jeffrey Wright episode is really good.
Nice. That was always one of my when I used to commute, like on public transit or on a bike, but mostly public transit. Fresh Air was one of my commute podcasts that I would like save up episodes and like save them for my commute. That's a good one. But I haven't listened to it in a long time, and now I'm gonna go back and find some because yeah, that one's been missing from my life. Good call out, Sergio. What about you?
I am similar to Erik, or maybe both of you, in that I only listen to podcasts when I'm driving, although they do tend to make me fall asleep sometimes. So on long road trips, not a good idea. I would say my top 3 favorite one is Planet Money by NPR, because they're always very fascinating, just economics and financial stories. Number 2 is one called Lore, Lore, by a guy named Aaron Mahnke. and it's more like supernatural, like scary, like scary stories. But he will look at history and like things that are kind of mysterious or spooky, and he'll just like do like a 20-30 minute episode. And he just the way he speaks, I think, is very calming, and he kind of tries to tie in some supernatural elements to it, if whatever.
Okay.
And then the last one is one I used to listen to a lot. It was called Reply All, and it was, I would say, more of like a tech podcast and some startup-y stuff. I think it was by Gimlet, and then they got bought out, I think, by Spotify. And then I just stopped listening to it because the host changed and it just wasn't as good anymore. But all of their older episodes are really good. So.
Yeah, I've heard of Reply All, but I've never listened to that one. On the lore one, are there any like that stick out in your mind as like a really really weird one?
No,
I'm so curious now.
Now you have to listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not scary. It's just more of like, oh shit, like this happened in Salem or I don't know, wherever else. And
Bermuda
like,
Triangle.
Yeah. What's the story behind it? Like, is it haunted or
cool.
not? I don't know.
Right.
So.
I feel like they could do like a Longmont one and go to all the different haunted places in Longmont. Cool. So my go-to, that's been my go-to for years, is Stuff You Should Know. I love it. I've been listening to it for so long. It's also like one of my number one airplane podcasts when I'm on an airplane, because airplanes can be sometimes a little stressful. And for whatever reason, that podcast just relaxes me so much. I think it's because I've been listening to it for so many years that like it's almost like I know the hosts. And so I'm like kind of soothed by hearing them talk. Also, it's like the perfect podcast to listen to for like random party conversation trivia stuff, because they just cover random topics. And so it's like you'll be talking to somebody and you're like, oh, I listened to a podcast about like giraffes, because they'll cover like anything. They actually just did an episode like a month ago on Frozen Dead Guy Days, which is kind of cool.
Wow.
It was one of their shorter ones. They call them short stuffs. So you could check that out. But they talk about, Frozen Dead Guy Days. But they do everything from like giraffes and slugs to like they'll do like, like weird conspiracy theory ones, like what happened to this person who disappeared, and it's like a full game. And then they'll do things like Roe v. Wade, like the history of that and kind of like how that all that went down. So it's very interesting, just like a wide swath. They also have a book, I think, that came out that was similar, and it's pretty interesting. So that's my go-to. Also recently got into Song Exploder, which is a good one for music folks. They're pretty short. I feel like they range between like 15 and 30 minutes. But they basically do like a deep dive into a single song. And it's so cool because they usually get like the artist as well as like their producer. And they interview them, and they also like manage to pull out the layers of the track. And so they'll like talk specifically about like the bass line, and then they'll pull that out, and it's really, really interesting. It's also fun too to like hear the history of like how a song came about and like why they recorded it. I listened to the Rick Astley one on Never Gonna Give You Up, and it was so interesting. It was so interesting. So I definitely recommend that one. They're very like snackable too. And then, my other go-to is I love The Office Ladies, because I watch The Office, and Conan O'Brien's podcast is another one that's really funny that I love to listen to. All right.
We should start a new series called What Podcast Did
What podcast did I listen to this week? Yeah.
And the one I listened to was What I Listened to This Week.
Oh, no. Now we're going to go down a spiral.
It's a loop. We're in a time loop.
Never-ending loop. Oh, I love it.
Anyone watch True Detective this week? This finale of season 4?
I'm still on season 1. I'm still catching up.
No, I'm watching, and I forget the name all the time. Peter Capaldi's an English actor who I love. and he was Doctor Who for one season. And he has a British police procedural where he's an evil cop, and he's so good. He's so good.
Oh man.
And it's only out once a week. And it's on Apple.
What's it called?
I'm forgetting, I'm blanking on the name.
You'll
but it's
think
really
of it
good.
into like 10
And
minutes.
it has, Cush Jumbo on it too, who's an
Okay.
actress who I really love. And so I've been watching that, and it's just been so good.
Oh man, I love those British shows. Maybe I'll have to check it out. I'm a sucker for those. All right, should I get into the music?
Sure. Let's do it.
All right, what's up first, DJ Sergio?
DJ Surge
DJ.
in the house. Whoop, whoop. First song of the evening. It's a song I chose called Watch the World Burn by Falling in Reverse.
Okay.
Nice. I like where your head's at.
Let's see where your head is at after you hear it.
Yeah, I got voices in my head again. Tread carefully, and I don't medicate, it helps me temporarily. I got problems, I got issues, yeah, apparently. Trauma that I'm burying, I think I need some therapy. I battled depression, I'm back with a message. I'm asking the question that if you hate me, why you acting obsessive? I'm past the point of no return by being passive aggressive. I'll brandish a weapon, teach all you motherfuckers a lesson. Yeah, I actually battle my demons and sorrows, and women the deep and the creep in the shallows. I'm lost. Gotta admit that I'm living the life that I've always wanted, but it comes at a cost. They're licking the jar, they're fixing to rip me apart. I'm swimming with sharks. I'm lifting the bar, I'm lifting the end of the stars. I like I shot up a adrenaline, mixed with some redolence. Started a battle, but bitch, I'm a finish it. Think you can stop me, not even a little bit. Nowadays, everybody's so sensitive. Picking my voice and you pick it apart. Tripping on nothing, just get in the car. Ripping and ripping and sticking the mark. I'm tipping the charts. I got enemies trying to get rid of me. Evil tendencies are fucking with me mentally. I got people that don't like me in the industry. I can feel your energy, you were not a friend of me. Cause I have been to places that you never wanna go. Yeah, I got dirt on people, but they act like I don't know. Yeah, I can do some damage, but I'll never rock the boat. All it takes is one post with some fun like dominoes. You'll never get rid of me, too many enemies whipping my industry. You know my history, it ain't a mystery. Put every enemy out of their misery. Somebody send me some positive energy. I'm about to go dark, I'm about to go dizzy. Into the darkness, into infinity. Shut you motherfuckers up. Listening? Stacking every little pretty penny that I'm getting, and I'm never giving in to anybody. Always winning, never kidding when I'm time, taking everybody with me. You're never gonna get me, cause you never see a simple. Yeah, my motherfucking God, you're a light yawn. I'm a time bomb, I'm vibes wrong, it's my fault. I'm killing syllables of the letter of fillable. I'm a lyrical, typical super villain, I'm venomous, and I'm never gonna stop until they put me on top of the list. I can't control the monster any longer that's inside. The pain and sorrow left us solo. Now tomorrow's hard to swallow. Death is calling, so I'm crawling. Tightrope walking, now I'm falling down. Like missiles falling from the sky. Come and save us. Pain and sorrow left us solo. Here today, but gone tomorrow. The pain inside is the fuel that drives this flesh and bone through blood that skies. The death-defying, hypnotizing. One day you're gonna figure out that everything they taught you was a lie. Blast the world burn!
Whoa, it ends like so suddenly. I was like, that was unexpected.
So that was Watch the World Burn by Falling in Reverse.
That was different.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sounds like they want to watch the world burn.
I like the beginning when it sounds like well, my medication's not working. I'm pretty messed up. And then it goes in this entirely paranoid rant. It sort of reminded me of Mind's Train Playing Tricks on Me by the Ghetto Boys. And it was really dark.
Yeah.
I like in the way it transitioned from the rap part to the metal part. And that was like awesome.
Yeah, I did like the mix. I mean, it was like Linkin Park on steroids, right? Like you got like that rap, and then you've got sort of pseudo metal. I mean, this was more metal than Linkin Park is, but yeah. I mean, how'd you come across this? I want to hear more about how you found this.
I've been listening to a lot more like rock, heavy rock, metal.
Okay.
And then this came up on my Discover Weekly.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is this? And then I
So
saw the
intense.
music video,
Oh man.
and it was even more intense.
Yeah.
And then I just got hooked on it because it's such a great mashup of genres. Like it's a seamless transition from like hip hop, and you get like parts of like Eminem in Rap God, when he's kind of like rapping fast, and then it just goes into like kind of like melodic metal, and then like screamo right at the end, and there's no chorus. It's just like go 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 go, and then it's like done. And I loved it. I don't know. I listen to it now all the time at the gym. It's a perfect like workout song. The singer is he was originally he helped form the band Escape the Fate, which was a screamo band. I think it came out in 2015 or sorry, 2005. And then his name is Ronnie Radcliffe or something. He ended up going to jail because of a parole violation. And then he came up with this band while in jail in Nevada, and was meeting with his bandmates like during visitation hours. And he just like wanted to like create something different. And if you look up the song, you'll see a ton of reaction videos. And it's usually like people that are really into hip hop, like being like, what? Like, what is this? And then they become like hardcore like metal lovers because it just bleeds it so effortlessly.
So is this a recent song?
Yeah, it came out last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, it's definitely like a crossover genre, and I think that I don't know. It's kind of nice to see that. I feel like there's been a lot of talk about crossover artists lately. All the Beyonce stuff. And like the fast car thing that happened and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like, I don't know, genres that can bring different groups of people together. I'm all for that. I think that's great. It's interesting too, the like church choir kind of in the background makes it sound so like ominous. Like I'm picturing them playing in a church, but it's like the church is on fire.
That's exactly what happened. You guessed correctly.
Nailed it. Yeah, that's really interesting. I didn't even like think about the fact that like the structure of the song, like when you called out that there's like no chorus, that didn't even like occur to me because I feel like it was such like a overwhelming like sound wall that I was like just trying to wrap my head around everything that was going on, and then it was over. But it's like a really good point. Like, yeah, there isn't like a traditional structure to it. It's just kind of like, we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this, which is really interesting. It's kind of cool to like hear somebody push that
So where do you
structure.
hear this? Where'd you hear this?
It just came up on my Spotify Discover Weekly, and like every week I get, I don't know, I think it's 50 songs or 25. Some of them are crap. They're not crap. I just don't like them, or I don't know. It's not
The
fitting my
robots
mood.
messed up.
Yeah, it's like damn AI again. But this time, it turned out pretty well. If you have time, definitely check out the lyrics. There's some really good rap verses in there. I like the one where he says, "I'm about to go Darth, about to go Disney, into the dark, into infinity." It's just really, I don't know, kind of clever. But anyway,
Yeah, I feel like Jay might like this Send it to him. The title definitely speaks to his MO. So I often say, some people just like to watch the world burn.
Yep.
To him. So really cool. Thanks, Sergio.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dig
Way
it.
different.
Yes.
Very different.
And now for something completely on the other spectrum is a song called Waldszenen op 82 1 Eintritt. Eintritt.
Yeah. So thank you for your German, Sergio. Because I'm terrible. My German is not great, and I have little cheat sheet notes that I'll go through after we listen to the song. But yeah, this is before we dive in, just to give context. This is the first of 9 short piano pieces that are within the set. So Waldszenen is like the full set, which is like forest walk or forest stroll or something like that. That's what it translates to. And this first one is like entrance into the forest is essentially what it is. So,
And it's by Robert Schumann.
Yeah, Robert Schumann is the composer. And then and like,
Zoltan.
yeah, I'm gonna butcher the pianist's name that plays this version. I did sort of listen through a couple of versions of this because this wasn't the one that kind of came across initially, and then I went down kind of a rabbit hole of like different versions of it because it is every pianist like has a different interpretation of every song. So it was kind of interesting to find one that I responded to, and this was the one that I chose. But yeah, Zoltan, and then I don't want to like insult him
Fejevari.
Yeah.
Fejevari.
by butchering, but you did a better job than I would. So yeah, go ahead and let it play.
Right.
We'll
So
chat.
this is Waldszenen.
Short and sweet. Nice little like ear cleanse after the other
After
one.
watching the world burn.
It's like, or like, you know how there's like eye bleach after you watch something like really intense, like then you go watch a YouTube video of like puppies. It's like, that's what it is. It's
This
ear
like
bleach.
restore the balance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so this is the first of 9 in the set, and they're all pretty short. They all so Eintritt or whatever the German is, I'm so bad. Is sort of the entrance into the forest, and then there's other ones. And I'm gonna look at my notes here, but like Hunters on the Lookout is the next one, and then Lonely Flowers, and then there's a Haunted Place one that's gets a little dark. And it sort of goes through and then it ends with like a hunting song and then a farewell. But Schumann wrote these in his late 30s. So Schumann only lived to be in his mid 40s. I think he was 46 when he died. And he struggled with mental health quite a bit. He had serious bouts of depression, especially during this time when he was writing these pieces. And it's kind of interesting because he also, I think there's another song set that's often recorded along this one that's called like Kinderweisen or something like that. And it's like memories of childhood that he's writing. So it's sort of interesting when you listen to this set because parts of it are so like, it's almost like a Disney movie, right? Like you can picture Bambi walking through the forest, but then there's like moments that just feel very sad. And, we were talking before we started recording. I was talking with Erik about how his wife, Clara, who was his muse and also a piano player, she sometimes would not play some of the songs in this set because she felt they were too dark. I came across this because I was looking for a different song. I was actually looking for a Sibelius song, and I don't know how this like came across my feed. I think it was because I don't know if I like started typing Sibelius and then it like something turned up Schumann. But anyway, this came up in the search results and the name looked familiar because I hadn't really thought about this song in probably, I don't know, 15 years maybe. But I remember having to play it in piano studio. And so that's why the name kind of like popped into my head. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about these. And then I was listening to them the other night and I love, I mean, Schumann, I'm a romantic era / like impressionist era classical music. That's like my vibe. And, so like Beethoven and then Schumann, I love Schumann. So anyway, kind of forgot about these, rediscovered them. And, this one is a nice one because it's got a good balance of, that kind of like joyful and kind of like Disney energy of the forest, but there's like those moments that are kind of dark. And I found this version after listening to a few because some of them go too fast with the tempo of the song. The direction is actually in the music is not too fast in German. But yeah, I think this one has a good balance of like kind of that staccato and fast, and then also sort of that nice like romantic style, like flowy, kind of mushy, muddy sound. Some of them can weigh too much on like the muddy end, but anyway, that's
very clear, very pleasant, and not at all as dark as I thought it was going to be. So that was really nice.
Yeah.
Beautifully played, nice tempo. I liked it.
Yeah, I actually don't know when this version was recorded. I think it's relatively recent. So do I have it here?
It says the album came out in 2020.
2020. Yeah, so it's a relatively recent recording of it. Yeah, definitely encourage you to like listen all the way through. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, Sergio. Go ahead.
No, I don't listen often to classical music. If I do, I think it's more of like Claire de Lune or I don't know, stuff like that.
The classics.
The classics.
The classic classical music.
The classic classical. Yeah, I thought this was fun. It felt like entering a forest. I think that's what you were describing.
Mm-hmm.
Like riding a horse and just kind of like boop, 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 boop.
Ooh, riding a horse, yeah.
That's or galloping or.
This is before they shoot Bambi.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, like that part of the movie, yeah.
It was beautiful though. I think I like it. I like classical music when it sounds beautiful, and this is like a spectrum of that. Because not all classical music to me is, I don't know. I don't like it all, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I also really like, I'll add to, what I like about this song too is the like trade-off of where the melody sits in the ranges. Sometimes it's like down low and sometimes it's up high. There's always kind of like the driving beat. But I'm trying to remember exactly, but I believe it's like one of those ones where it's like there's a lot of like a crossover hand work because the melody is like down here for a bit and it's up here for a bit. But yeah, wanted to bring something different. I don't think we don't often have classical music here, but also like I didn't want to bring like a 25-minute piece.
I don't think we've ever done classical music here.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't think we have, but I encourage you to bring some now. Maybe this will be the motivation.
The word that came to mind that I was like, what? It was bouncy.
Oh
It
yeah,
was very bouncy.
yeah, for sure.
Like being on a bouncy castle. And I was like,
That's
or
castle
like
in
on
the
a
wind.
carousel. That's kind of
Yeah,
what I visualized. But
yeah. No, it makes sense. The like staccato part of the beginning, definitely feels like that. Cool. All right,
Wow.
we did it. We did classical music, guys.
And the last song for this episode is called Some Other Time by Tony Bennett and Bill Evans. Do you want to say anything, Erik? Or
Great American Songbook stuff is my comfort music. And actually, I was going to bring another song by another artist entirely. But after his played, this came on, and it was like, wow, the great Tony Bennett, the great Bill Evans, together, you can't do better. Well, you can do better. You can do differently.
You can do that.
You can, but
Poor Tony.
are you shitting on Tony Bennett?
no,
Poor
I'm not.
Tony.
Tony is one of my favorites. Always been one of my favorites. Until when he got old and he started doing the duets. Some of his stuff was okay.
You didn't like the Lady Gaga?
It was all right.
Yeah.
I like sort of the more pure Tony
Yeah.
Bennett, and just accompanied by Bill Evans. You just can't get better than that. So anyway,
All right. Here's the song Some Other Time.
Where has the time all gone to? Haven't done half the things we want to. Oh, well, we'll catch up some other time. This day was just a token. Too many words are still unspoken. Oh, well, we'll catch up some other time. Just when the fun is starting, comes the time for parting. But let's be glad for what we've had and what's to come. There's so much more embracing still to be done, but time is racing. Oh, well, we'll catch up some other time.
there's so much more embracing still to be done, but time is racing. Oh, well, we'll catch up some other time.
So this song was written in 1944 for On the Town by Comden, Green, and Bernstein. So this is the last song of the play, of the musical. And for me, this is just Tony Bennett at sort of his top. He's in total control of his voice. And Bill Evans, the incomparable, to me, Bill Evans, who did everything in his short life. And it's my comfort food. So I've been getting a lot of American Songbook and a lot of Tony Bennett because Tony's the man.
When was this recorded?
This was recorded in 1975.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like when you were saying that sort of it's Tony at his top, at his best, like I think this song does a good job showing his range. There's also all these moments too where you think he's gonna do his like famous like Tony, like he ends on like that high, right? And then he takes you out and it goes low. And I think that just being able to hear that range, especially like listening to it in like headphones like this, like being able to really hear that so intensely. Yeah, just really obviously highlights his amazing talent. I think one other thing that I love about this combo of the two of them is that they're both such amazing talents and they're such giants in what they do, and putting them together there's no fighting, right? It's like they're each highlighting so well what they do. Tony gets his moment to shine and show his range, and Bill's, gets his, moment in time to show his range. And it's so nice to kind of hear that, because I feel like a lot of times when you have a vocalist and an instrumentalist, sometimes like the talent can outweigh the other, somebody's more of a diva than the other, right? It's not always the singer. You don't have that here. And I think that's what's so incredible about this combo, is that it's just like two amazing musicians, and it's like unadulterated, like pure. There's nothing else like messing around. And I think that's just such an enjoyable thing to listen to. Yeah.
I thought the lyrics were like a gut punch. Like it was so sad.
Yeah, I'm glad
and
we didn't listen to this one right after Sergio's. It would have been a little too much to handle.
Yeah, I feel like maybe the flow tonight should have been your song first, maybe this one, and then like, I hate the world. Because I didn't see you some other time, And
Right. Oh, I know. It's heartbreaking.
It like makes me want to go catch up with people. Or it also makes me, it makes you realize like how short life is, and might as well do stuff now.
Yeah, and this song is why I prefer this era and a little bit earlier Tony Bennett to the late ones, when he's like a lot of older singers, like Frank Sinatra did duets, and it's like he's doing a duet with Bono. It's like, oh God,
Boo.
who thought of this?
Bono, worst.
Wait, I thought you liked U2.
No.
Thank you.
I love you too, but Bono, Frank Sinatra, no.
Oh God.
And so the stuff that he did with, there's a Tony Bennett and Willie Nelson. Love them both. Don't love them together.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a gimmick. It was just, as you said, just two giants getting together and blending. And not upstaging each other at all. It's sort of, as a recording, one that's sort of comparable is Ella Fitzgerald and Joe Pass. And it's just those two. And it's perfect. It's they don't outshine each other. He's a perfect accompanist to, maybe one of the best American singers of all time. So I sort of think of this that way. Plus, it's songbook, and it's a great song.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this album, one of the best.
Yeah. It's interesting that you brought this song and like sort of the lyrics, because I feel like one of the things I didn't talk about this with my song, but like one of the things I was thinking about today after I added this song to the playlist is that my music listening for the last couple of weeks has been very nostalgic. Like it's been like I when I came across this song, I was like, oh, I remember when I played this in college, and I was like going down that like rabbit hole of like, and then I like went and found all my old binders and like the programs from my recital, and I was like going down this like memory hole, right? And like last week I was listening to a bunch of emo music, and there's like a playlist on Spotify called Emo Forever, and I love it. It's so good. But I went down that rabbit hole because I was getting a gift for a friend who like also likes that music, and I found this really funny thing on Etsy, and I ordered it for him, and then I was like, I should listen to some of that, and then I was going down like that rabbit hole, and it's just interesting that you brought this song because it's like kind of that same mentality. It's like wanting to like catch up with people and like go, talk to some folks maybe from your past. But yeah, it's just kind of interesting. We're maybe all in that headspace. Yeah, great. Yeah, great song. Really good. Good stuff.
I'm going to go listen to more classical music and Tony Bennett today.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds great.
Get out of the emo, screamo.
Yeah. I know. I was like, Jay, I think I'm going to bring something from Emo Forever. And he's like, please don't bring anything else. Yeah. Anything else on Tony? Anything else you want to add?
Just, I think he's underrated and undervalued as a singer and as an interpreter of song. And people listen to him for that because they're too busy listening to him and Willie Nelson.
Or Lady Gaga.
And Lady Gaga.
I do remember the year he was in like the Macy's Thanksgiving parade with her. That's like the last vision I have of Tony, which is probably not great.
Yeah. I think when he did his sort of revival and during the MTV eras, because he's a guy who always kept his integrity, but as he got older, it got more gimmicky to keep him in the spotlight.
Yeah.
And then he was sick and
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, to Mr. Bennett and Mr. Evans.
Cheers. All right. Well, that's it. That wraps us up for this episode. Don't forget, you can find us on Spotify and Amazon Podcasts, also on YouTube. Feel free to leave us a comment on YouTube if you want to hear something, or you can also email. It's hello@longmontpublicmedia.org, right? That's the email? Yeah.
Yep.
So you can always email us too if there's something you want us to listen to. But thanks so much for tuning in, everybody.
See ya.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.